Welcome to From the Ashes, the Dungeon Crawler Network podcast all about Ashes of Creation by Intrepid Studios. Bear witness to the rebirth of the MMORPG genre from the ashes of an industry that's left the gamers behind. I'm Aggelos, founder of the Dungeon Crawler Network. We are coming to you live from the Mighty Beard Tavern, which has been mostly empty.
Yeah.
For like a year now.
Yeah.
If not,
Can we change your intro a little bit?
sure.
There's a particular line in your intro that makes me chuckle because of how prophetic it sounds. Like a prophecy is coming true. Like we just we'll tweak maybe down the road. Just talk about it and change it up.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. That may require some changing, and not really. I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Great start. We're on a roll.
This should give you an indication for what we have planned for you guys this week. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, Alpha Soul, how are you?
I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, relatively good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Relatively. I like that. How about you, Crowjack?
I had a killer day. I filmed 2 pieces of content, edited 3 pieces of content. I've got 2 channels on YouTube about to go underway. One's been underway for a while. A second one is going to be starting tomorrow. Yeah, I'm killing it. Been to the gym this morning, up at 5 a.m. I'm crushing life right now.
Nice.
Rub it in. I mean, I haven't
Not
been
playing
to
Ashes of Creation Apocalypse, but I'm crushing life right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've not. Let me see. When was the last time I worked out? I'm going to have to look this up because I was working out daily.
You were on a roll. You were killing it for a long time.
No, it's past few weeks, it's fallen down to almost nothing.
Man, your first day back, good luck.
Oh, I know. My app yells at me, and my first day back is leg day, and I think that's what's keeping me away.
No, you can't do that to yourself.
I keep hitting refresh workout, and it keeps giving me leg day. I'm like, why do you hate me so much?
Maybe do a couple full body workouts, ease yourself back in there a bit.
Sunday I worked out. Okay. All right.
There you go.
So I worked out Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then I skipped Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then I worked out Sunday, the 20th, and then I skipped the entire week of the 13th through the 19th.
Jeez.
I know. I'm looking at this month calendar, and it's bad. September's a little better, but still not great. August was good.
Our this new weightlifting podcast we have going on is phenomenal. I'm very excited to talk about branching amino acids, creatine hydrochloride. Can't wait to discuss the finer points of deadlifts. It's gonna be a good podcast.
At least we'll have something to talk about.
You got it. Okay. You have stuff to talk about today.
Sure we do. We've got the Forests of Erinthia game update. We had a hotfix as well as a stealth nerf, which we'll get to in a little bit, as well as a live stream cosplay contest.
It was a live stream.
Okay.
Yep.
At least one of those statements is true.
It was a live stream.
Yes.
And there was a contest.
There was. Actually, and what's really cool, and we'll get to it, but one of our guildies got second. Malfin did
I was going to say,
yeah, that's right.
Malfin. I know Malfin.
Yeah.
That was a sweet, that was really cool what he made.
Yeah.
I'm not near that artistic.
Yo, the pumpkin castle thing that won, that was sick. That was
Nice.
legit cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, so that's our show for today, and I guess
Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
See you next week.
See you later, everyone. No, we actually did have. We haven't had any iTunes updates, but I did want to bring an email up because this is probably the most important thing that we're going to talk about on this show. So just stick tight. Mm-hmm. We got an email back from our German iTunes review. Immediately afterwards, he emailed me back. I'm going to go by the gamer tag of Maddox. It's a lot easier. He goes, "Hello again, Aggelos. It's me again," and he gives his name, but I can't pronounce it, so we're going to go with Maddox, which means carrot, by the way. So that M-O-E-H-R-E means carrot in German, FYI. Actually, it's an old nickname of mine, which is why, which I had when I was 12 years old, but that's not the reason for the message, as you can imagine. The winner of the Zweihander pronunciation is definitely not Crowjack.
Come on, I nailed it with, what did I say?
Zed.
Zedway Hander, because
Yeah.
it's pronounced not Z, so it's Zedway
Something like
Hander.
that.
Zedway,
That's
yeah.
what
It's
All right.
definitely not Crowjack.
Totally, 100%. I nailed it.
Say
On the
who?
nailed it.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Oh, you got it?
No,
I guess
Oh, no.
Alpha Soul was the closest.
there you go.
But
Oh, closest.
not,
that's-
yeah, hold on. There's more to this. But you were the
All right.
closest of the three of us, but it definitely wasn't Crowjack.
Is there a V like Sveihander? Is the W?
Viander?
Is Sveihander? Is that how it's done? Just guessing.
I don't know. He didn't give me a pronunciation guide in the
Oh,
email,
he should've.
unfortunately. But the Z is pronounced very hard. Imagine putting a T in front of the S, so it would be
Zweihander. So like that's like soon.
So-
Tsun. Soon.
yeah.
That TS sound.
Yeah, so he typed it out, I guess. TSWHYHANDER.
Zwei.
Zweihander.
I want to put the V sound effect in there, but I don't think it
I
is.
know I keep wanting to say
Zweihander.
V, but yeah, that's should be the closest by putting some English words together. So thank you for that. By the way, Alpha Soul was also quite good with his Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So I hope this helps, even though it was my it was my meticulousness that started this discussion. And then he signed off with something, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because that is 100% German, and I would destroy it. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, thank you so much, Maddox, for that. Like, what was really cool is you can definitely tell he listens to the show immediately because I got this email literally probably 12 hours after the show went live.
Oh,
Nice.
Gotcha.
So it immediately started listening. So thank you so much. That meant a lot. I even emailed him back going, this excites me more than almost anything else that you actually responded to my call for you to answer back. So
Yep.
that was really, really cool of him. Anyway, that was the more important thing. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. Bum, bum. Steam charts. No, I'm just kidding. We were looking at those.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Hold up. Forest of Erinthia.
It's funny. It's been a while. Like that map was on a
Yeah.
while ago, and we've never talked about it. Yeah, we never had the chance to talk about the map update to APOC.
Right. And well, I mean, honestly, this was because the map update came out last week. But it was literally the only thing that came out last week. I'm actually going to go ahead and play it in the background so people can actually see what it looks like if you're watching the video. But yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk about the map. Let's go ahead and talk about the map a little bit. From an aesthetic point of view, I like it, but I'm actually going to probably be the one who says, overall, I dislike the map.
Oh, I could not disagree with you more. Like the verticality, the
I love the map.
functionality, the environment, the layout, the strategic importance of some of the points of interest in the map. Like there's so many good things about this from an environmental design standpoint and from a game design standpoint. This map is above and beyond what we had before. We had before was barren, empty, with lots of wide open spaces and not a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Let me
awesome.
step this back a little bit
All right.
so I can give you my perspective. You two are pretty top tier PvP players.
Okay, I got you. Yep.
I am not so much. I'm middle in level, if at best. Okay. So my issue, and we had talked about this in the past. The other map, and especially with the way they changed the melee combat, I became the hunter. This map felt so small that I lost that hunter aspect because by the time that I had got done with a fight, there were people already on top of me.
Okay.
So
Now,
from that
the
level,
other map-
that's a problem for me.
The other map was meant to feel that way with 100 people in it. It was meant to be closer to what we're experiencing now.
And it was to a degree. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but we did have a couple matches for a while that were, I think it was one of the weekends, and it was like 100 people in the match. Or maybe it was 80. I forgot what it was, but there was a significant amount of people in it.
Yeah, but even when there were more people because of the size of the map, if you didn't hit one of the big areas,
like castle or
spire, you still had a fairly good chance of not running
Fair
into.
enough. Not. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I lost part of that hunter aspect because of how short the map is, as well as they sped up the circles, I think. So there was less foraging time.
They did. Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
That's why I'm not fond of the map.
So it's not. So it's not an aesthetic.
No, I love the aesthetic. I love snowy maps. Yeah, no, I love the look of the map. I have no issue with that. It's because of the size and because they sped up. One, and this could also come, like I said, I'm not the best PvPer, but also I didn't know the map, and because the map moved so quickly, it was hard to explore the map to kind of figure out what each location had. Sure, that may come with experience as you play the map, which gets harder and harder by the day. We'll get to it. It might not have felt as bad to me once I learned all the spots. In the old map, I knew where things were. Okay? You know, you went down to the Fens, you went down to Strider's Point, you went to the Spire, you went to Stoneport or whatever it was called. Like, I knew where the areas were, the city of Gant, Nat, or whatever you want to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yep.
There were things that I knew where they were. This felt very, very condensed. There were a lot of choke points now, though, too.
It was condensed because it had to be. Their dwindling player base, they had to resort to, okay, we need to find a way to change this game to accommodate such a smaller player base.
Yeah.
30 people on this map felt so much more alive than, God, whatever we had in the last map.
Yeah. When they first came out with it, it felt still, it felt perfect for its size, basically. You got essentially nonstop, and to your point, I can see why. You didn't really have to hunt, if you will, when you had the 30 people in the map, because you would encounter people just naturally just moving from one place to place, right?
Yeah. You spent more time trying to run away to find a spot to hide and heal up.
Exactly.
Than in this
Right.
map.
But I like that. I like that point.
Frantic adrenaline. It's just nonstop.
Exactly. Like I love to fight, at least within it. So hopping from fight to fight and trying to find that little niche, it's easier to I like some of the mechanics where it's easier to actually run with like invis, just because the invis blends really well with the snow. So it's really easy to lose somebody if you're running around, with that. And there's just so many little things I like about it.
From a melee perspective, I will give it this. Range has been cut down because in certain areas where the snow's coming out, your visibility is almost nil.
Not even just the visibility. There's so many structures and mountain ranges and high ground and low ground. Like, trying to get line of sight on certain targets can be a pain, especially when they can flee so efficiently.
Could you imagine this map? The one thing I noticed from a built perspective with the hills and stuff, they've tried to create these natural choke points. If you didn't have the super jump and you had to
navigating through it all, right?
Yeah.
It'd be great for ambushes in the MMO.
And I noticed that's the one thing they did mention. This is supposed to be taken from the MMO.
Until I see the MMO map,
I'm going to call a little bit of BS on that.
Yeah, we'll see. Show me the spot in the MMO map. Hey, show me the map.
Well, I also will, but for a different reason. I believed that at first until the latest update. The latest update, they added structures into it. So unless they're doing the same thing and like adding it, and maybe that's true that they are, but they did add, and it feels like it was for the purpose of additional spawn points, or not spawn points, additional spawn points for items, if you will.
Yeah.
Right, because there was with the map before they made this update, there was like you could get most of your items on the outer edges, right, of the map. And if you missed that, you kind of had to do a mad dash to some of the treasure chests that were in the middle. And there was kind of like no medium point for items. So it looks like they added, structures around that medium point area so that you can pick up additional items before moving into the center.
Which they should do. They should design the map with the BR in mind. And if it needs changes for the BR in mind, they made those changes. So
exactly. Which is why I don't think it's I don't think it's a rip from the MMO for that
See,
reason.
what they can do is when they finally do have the map for us and they show it to us, they can be like, hey, look, here it is. Here's that spot we ripped. Hey, we totally didn't add it after the fact. We ripped it from the front for sure.
Yeah.
100%. They can do that if they want to.
Yeah.
I mean, I see chat talking about from an MMO. I mean, some people are like, it's not a 1-for-1 representation, just a bunch of stuff thrown in.
Shouldn't
Well,
be.
That's saying
It shouldn't be.
That's like saying, okay, I'm throwing on all the human assets and just calling it one of the. This is one of the human zones just because I use human assets. That doesn't. The other thing is, it's a complete circle, a 100% circle. Like, you notice all the roads lead into one big circle. I can't imagine this being part of, like, ripped out of the alpha and go, here, we're just going to put invisible walls.
Yep.
Because the whole terrain was built with a
For the
circle
BR.
in mind. Yes.
Yeah, like, again, if I take a Warcraft 3 map and import it, like, frame for frame, perfection for perfection into an MMO like World of Warcraft, well, it wouldn't make sense. You had Teldrassil in Warcraft 3, you had Teldrassil in World of Warcraft, and they were different because they're built for different types of games. So a Battle Royale interpretation of the MMO world has to be built with Battle Royales in mind and be different than the MMO world, and that's just fine.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need
Right.
to be a perfect one-to-one. They're different game styles.
Now they could have just meant that, you know, they took the forest kind of, or the snowy background area from the forest, and
The
you know, that's
name
fine.
and
Yeah. But I don't think it's a 100% rip. Too coincidental.
Right.
E.
Right. No, and that's the way I'm feeling about it too. It's just no. All right. Next thing is they added in a few hot fixes on the 24th. They had a hot fix, and really I'm going to only focus on some of the changes to the weapons because a lot of the other stuff were just bug fixes, as well as one stealth nerf. Frostfire potion launcher. They fixed an issue with that caused the projectile to explode when it was being fired.
That's awkward.
Ah, yes.
Uh-huh. I mean, I did fire a few times, but it was always when it was in that, I don't know, how do I want to say it? They're charging me head on.
Yep.
Yes, sometimes it felt like it went off early. And that a lot of times you'd kill yourself.
Yep.
And if that was a bug, yes, it makes sense then. Yeah. And then the Wand of Light, they fixed an issue with the return to idle animation when attacking with a wand. But they didn't really change anything from a number perspective. But one thing that I noticed they changed, they've been stealth messing with the experience gains. One reason why we'll talk about the drop in players here in a bit is there was a lot of people AFKing it.
Yeah, there was.
Because AFKing, it would net you experience. It wasn't a lot, maybe 100, 200 experience a match.
But it adds up. Yeah.
But yeah, 100, what is that? 1,010, yeah, 100 matches or 130 matches or something like that, you've gained a level just by doing that. So if you had a VPN to your house or something like that, yeah, and it was running all day, you could get 130 matches in, come home to a couple extra levels. But they nerfed that. If you die right away, like, even if you're active, if you die right away, like fall off your griffin or anything like that, you get nothing. Not one thing.
That's fine.
I also noticed the experience went down quite a bit just from actually playing. Whereas you were walking away with 200-300, now you're getting 100, 150 maybe, if you're like one of the first ones to die. Now, that may not seem like a huge thing to people who are playing, but guess what? There's not a lot of people playing. And then the handful of people who are filling up the queues and AFKing it are now gone because now there's no reason to AFK it.
Yeah.
State of the game. Let's look at these Steam charts, shall we?
Pull them up on the screen.
I could do that. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull that
Now,
up.
let's hit the rebuttal now. Let's play devil's advocate and then rebuttal the devil's advocate right now with these Steam charts. The obvious devil's advocate is, well, not everyone uses Steam. Some people use the Intrepid launcher. You could even argue that most people, greater than 51%, may use the Intrepid launcher, and I could believe that. I could believe greater than 51% of the players use the Intrepid launcher because most of us are from the Kickstarter days, right, that play it now still. The rebuttal to that is very simple. The 10-player lobbies coupled with the multiple minute-long queues will show and help to reiterate and reinforce what you're about to observe with the Steam charts as Aggelos continues to set them up and show you what has happened since APOC has come out to now on Steam.
All right, so just based off this, now we had talked about this a little bit in the beginning of the show. Yes, the argument that some people are using the Intrepid launcher, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, though, I ran a game just a few minutes before this. It took almost 3 solid minutes. It was like 2 minutes and 49 seconds or something like that to get into a match with 10 players. Given the number that was playing at this point, now given I haven't refreshed, this was when I played at 8 o'clock. So that's why I said it's about an hour ago. 23 people. If you're waiting, if there's 10 people and at max the game lasts 10 minutes for that final circle, it takes almost 3 minutes. They have no more than 4 instances going.
Yep.
So 40 people? So that would mean only 17 people were playing using the Intrepid.
That's about
launcher.
right. That's about right. Because for the time that I went on yesterday, I could almost write down all of the players who were playing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I were to re-queue, you notice the same names. Like, oh, I saw them die in the previous match. They are now re-queuing, and now they're one of the 9 other people in this match.
Yeah, and if you died early or something like that, then you'd get in with the other group of people that are playing, and then you kind of cycle between, depending on how far you got within a match, basically.
Right. Now, one thing I want to show up here is they show the all-time peak at 572 all-time players. Okay? I want to take note of when this was. That was back here on September 27th when they did the weekend test.
Yep, opening weekend.
Yep. The first time they launched it on Steam, and then they took it back.
Yes.
So this was the very first Steam launch, and they took it back. And then it went offline. So how these other people, this must have been internal test or at this point.
I don't know.
Well, let's see. September 30th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Because then they had another peak here on the 12th, because I'm pretty sure it was on the 12th that it came back, right?
Possible, yeah.
I'm trying to remember the date, but that's where you had another peak of 288. But then from that point on, as you're seeing, it's dropping down to where we're currently sitting at all 24-hour peak of 39 players.
Yep. Do you remember past handful of podcasts, even before that, one of the things I tried to hammer and talk about consistently when it came to the Battle Royale was if the product was good, the game will succeed, regardless of all the hate around it. Right? I said if Intrepid is able to make a good product, that will overpower any of the bad PR it has, and it will grow and people will play it. The market is screaming at Intrepid right now. The market is screaming at them. You can't argue with the market. You can't tell them they're wrong because they're the ones deciding whether your product is good or not. Whether it's a food, a restaurant, a service, anything. The market is always right when it comes to this stuff. And it's not like there hasn't been enough advertising. I was talking to the pre-show with the boys here. When Shroud played this game, he's played this game twice on stream, if memory serves. Both times he had more than 20,000 concurrent viewers. How Twitch works, some people, sit down and watch the guy for 10 minutes, then leave. Sometimes they'll watch for half an hour, then leave. Sometimes they'll watch the whole thing. So 20,000 people over the course of multiple hours turns out to be hundreds of thousands of people. Hundreds of thousands of different people watched Shroud play this game. People who like Shroud, people who are fans of Shroud. And still, a free-to-play Battle Royale that Shroud played and Shroud spoke highly of. This is the result. The market is screaming at this company. But they're going to turn a blind eye, a deaf ear, and here we are.
I pulled up the other game we had talked about, Realm Royale, which would probably be the closest Battle Royale in terms of theming. And this was their past day as well, or the past week. And you could see they had a drop. They must have had an outage on this day right here. But their average is still above 1,000 players in most cases.
That's 10 to 20x the number of players.
Yeah.
To APOC.
Well, as you can see right here, on Thursday, October 31st at 3 p.m., we had 29 players online. They had 1,800.
I'm sorry, more than 10 to 20x. I underestimated. My math was way off.
Maths. It's hard.
Maths.
Yeah.
Because 10x is 290 players. That's 10x, right? That's 320 players. That's 390 players. More than that.
And I just tried to pick two of the least popular battle royales at this point that would be of similar styling, and you can see it's not holding a candle. People are not interested in battle royale, no matter how much they claim for testing. It's fine, but they're just not interested in testing this style of game. Period.
Yeah.
Nope. And there is no other. Well, Spellbreak is the only other kind of fantasy battle royale that comes to mind.
Is that out yet?
I don't even know if it's out yet. It's a great question. Nor do I know if it's on Steam or not.
But the one thing to remember about Spellbreak is that's the only game they're working on. It's not meant to be a testing ground.
Yeah, no, that's their product.
Yeah, that is a product. So, yeah, that seems to be a big issue. We're not seeing any type of player retention. We'd even talked about in the pre-show, if they don't add a cosmetic for November for people to go, but anyone who already bought it or hit 50 isn't going to come back because they're just going to retroactively give it to them.
Even the most diehard of supporters of the Battle Royale have spoken out and gone, you know what, why are we doing this? Just shut it down. Big D, my boy, D Phantom. You guys know him. You've probably died to him multiple times. I know I have. I've killed him a few times. He has spoken out on Twitter going, guys, why are we still doing this? Shut the servers down. Focus on other things.
Yeah.
Even the most stout supporters. And when your hardcore supporters, your hardcore community is speaking out against you, what do you have left? Right. If you can't get the casuals, if you can't get the Shroud fans, and if you can't even get your hardcores behind you, why? Why?
No. Yeah, I agree. I mean, even we as a show, we are the epitome of a fan podcast.
Yep.
And even we're like,
we're still here.
Yeah.
I'm even at the point where I'm like, Castle Siege doesn't even interest me right now. I'm not even super interested in it. And maybe when I start to see some real gameplay for Castle Siege, I might get some hype back. Right now, I could kill less. I have so many other things to focus on in life.
Right.
I don't know. This feels like a similar low. Remember the day they took down APOC the first time? And then the creative director's letter? And then that podcast afterwards? Remember how we felt? Remember that the tone of that podcast? It was just defeated. We were just angry. We were upset. We were defeated. We were messed up. It was a really uncomfortable, very difficult podcast to do. And I feel similar. Maybe not to the same emotional depth, but this feels kind of similar because it's clearly the APOC has been doing horribly. And we were waiting for this live stream to come up. And they didn't even address the elephant in the room that was the numbers behind APOC and all that jazz. And they spent the entire live stream kind of trying to hammer home from every angle, and Alpha will talk about this later, the necessity of the Battle Royale.
Yeah. I kind of feel the same way. I mean, it's the Castle Siege, you hit it with a nail on the head. Castle Siege to begin with, it never really interested me. Period. Great big battles are fun, but as a concept to repeatedly do, that's
where's the
another
replay
story.
value?
Right.
Where's the replay value?
Once or twice, whatever. What interests me, and I think what interests most people, interacting with Ashes of Creation, is the MMO. Right? It's talking about. Here's an interesting question. I thought of this. I would rather actually have a full commitment to just say a new article about systems, what's coming in the MMO, all the way up until Alpha 1, than play APOC in general, including Castle Siege.
Yep. Same here.
I would rather have that than those combined. Not that I'm not excited, for the world or anything like that, but what more interests me about Ashes of Creation and what's taken me is the concept of this world that we're all going to enter in and have our own governance over that world, if you will. Rise and fall of nations, politics. In my head, I'm envisioning Eve with swords, basically.
Yeah,
That's what I'm envisioning, right?
Yeah.
So none of this satiates any of that, and to me, it's just more of a distraction, if you will.
Yep.
If they went BDO style and dropped a Battle Royale even after alpha testing, even after MMO alpha testing drops, they went, you know what, we'll have this Battle Royale on the side. I wouldn't say a thing. I'd be like, cool.
Yep.
Nice. Something for me to do if I'm bored.
Right. It's a side thing. Honestly, I don't know what. Well, if they have some of the world done, I would almost rather go into just an open world map with hardly anything in it.
Yep.
And let them iterate on it. Being literally, it's testing out the login. You log in. Hey, you're in Vera. I can run around. Some trees aren't there. There's empty spots because there's something supposed to be there, but they haven't added it yet. And then watch as the game develops. Oh, the next patch. Hey, guys, we're testing out class kits. You can now select class kits and mess around. I think that would be more entertaining than this game, which is quote-unquote playable. I remember for Crowfall, there was a gentleman who we had actually interviewed at one point in time on the older version of the Dungeon Crawlers podcast, where and I see Sakura. According to Steven, an open world roaming game is harder to do than a BR. Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah,
It 100% is.
So do it.
But more than 6 players will play it.
Yep.
Ooh. No, I'm not saying it's not. It's definitely harder. It's definitely harder. But there was, when they were first doing Crowfall, there would be people thrown into the map, and it was pretty much nothing. And they would throw in specific test stuff, like things you could do. A guy was playing with crafting because that's all he could do for weeks, just messing with it. And as they added new stuff, he kept jumping into it and making new things. Because the world that they had given was their world. It's just, it was sort of empty, and then they got to see the progression as things were added and saw it grow. Let's see. Necro question.
Yeah,
for
Necro
you
had an
guys.
interesting question.
If A1 is not coming until June, do you guys still want to still kill APOC and also not doing this test? Yeah.
Here's all I want. I don't care how long Alpha 1 lasts. I don't care how long Alpha 2 lasts. You put it in our hands ASAP to put aside everyone's doubts of this MMO never coming out and allow us to iterate on it and test it and play it and be in the world. And then you can take as long as you want to do the testing and then make a good product.
I just want to reiterate and kind of make an argument against Necro in chat. Crowfall, we're also pushing that you keep your progress to sell early access and VIP. Other than keeping your progress, that's cool. But I mean, Ashes is we get monthly cosmetics to try to push them people buying early access and VIP. So I don't see much of a difference. It's not like Ashes isn't actively pushing their product. They do it every month. Pretty much for the past couple episodes, all we've had to talk about has been a cosmetic package that has come out.
And a lot of the models that they've shown us in the live streams, I'm just actually realizing this in my head right now. The 3D renders, the skins, the finished things are all models of monthly cosmetics and or Kickstarter items. The creatures, the mounts, the pets. That's a long silence. There shouldn't be that much silence on a podcast. Hi, podcast listeners.
I know. Well, it's to let the truth sink in.
Let that hang.
Yeah. And I see Varcoon says today, Steven said Alpha 1 will not be bare bones. It'll be a very developed alpha.
Cool.
Fine.
Show me. I would love it. That'd be phenomenal. I'd be so happy.
But pushing APOC isn't helping your cause. No one's going to play it anymore.
No.
Yeah.
It's
I
not.
still maintain I still maintain APOC is damaging their brand more than it's helping their brand. That's just my opinion. Obviously,
I'm starting to lean your way as well. Before the results, I was saying, let's see the results. Now we're seeing the results, and it's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they would be better served to literally stop, pushing monthly cosmetics, stop pushing, whatever. Even if they go radio silent update and say, hey, we're developing, we'll come back to you in X amount of months, right? And then they show up in June and say, hey, guys, Alpha 1 here. I think they would be better doing that rather than keeping up.
PSA, we're going dark. See you in June.
Yeah.
Yeah. Takes all the pressure off the devs, basically. You can just go back, develop in peace. You don't have people banging down your door. Yeah.
And I see Faziel in chat. If you also don't know, he streams. Check him out. He does do a lot. I don't play to have fun. I play to help the devs. I agree with you there, buddy, and that's a good concept to have. But how much are you helping the devs when it's you and 5 other players? That's not helping the devs. At this point, the game is not only a detriment to their image, it's costing them money.
Yep.
Out of all those people, who's actually buying packages, buying stuff? It's costing them money.
Yeah. So I see Faisal's argument. If the only way that I would say that that's true is if this had a significant amount of players, or at least a sustainable amount of players that continuously go in, where you have people, let's just say even 50 a match, because with something like 50 or even 30 a match, you can't replicate in the office. You can replicate 10 people in the office, right? So I don't buy that. I don't buy the argument that it's fully helping. Like, I'd be interested to see how specifically it is. But I can't imagine it's that much.
But they can get good numbers from several of us if they kept it to like guildies. Because I know there's a bunch of us, Imperium. Like even I've seen Freelancer mention, like, if you wanted, I could bring a whole bunch of people to you, but they're not going to play a BR. Steven has access to these groups of players, these big gaming communities. If he wanted to do a private NDA test, he could get hundreds of players.
He could do it like that.
Yeah.
And his Kickstarter backers and the summer package backers. He has access to people.
Yeah, even people who, if he just did the Alpha backers, the Alpha 1 backers, and popped something up going, hey, we're bringing up Alpha 1 servers, it's raw, but it's under NDA, there'd be a heck of a lot more players playing that.
I would venture to say, based on the numbers that I know, easily, instantly over 2,000 players.
Yeah.
Like that, basically.
How many Braver of Worlds backers are there? There's thousands.
A lot. Now, and I do want to address this question, or it's not a question, but it's more of something we noticed. And this isn't actually I don't mean this as a super negative thing, because Steven knows I love Intrepid.
We don't want to be negative. Yeah,
straight up. We don't want to be negative,
guys.
I know they said no NDA, Killer Cape, but if it's a private test for people who backed, that's fine. That's not the alpha. They could call it Alpha 0.5 again, like they did before, to get away with it. This isn't Alpha 1. It's Alpha 0.9. You can get away with it regardless. The argument was about going dark. The problem with Intrepid Studios, and I love them. We do a show about it. We're 105 episodes in.
We're cheering for them. We're rooting for them. We want them to succeed.
Intrepid is not good at being transparent
when it's not convenient.
When it's not convenient. There you go. Perfect. They are transparent like crazy when they have something to show. Okay? And I mean something finished to show.
Yep.
When it's something that they are so far back on, we get soon TM.
Like, just a quick example, the number of times they've mentioned in the live streams over the past few months about destructible objects and destructible walls. How many times have you heard comments of, oh, it's not ready to show yet? Oh, it's not ready to show yet. Oh, it's not ready to show yet. Multiple times. Steven has said, no, I'd be allowed to show you, but it's not ready yet. Why not? I thought this was open development. I thought you were demonstrating everything for us.
Right. And shout out to Wood Chip for all the gift subs, buddy. I much appreciate that. But see, and that's the thing. And I've told this to Steven before. Steven, there's not a problem with being transparent. And there's not a problem with not being transparent. But you're playing both sides of the fence here. You are transparent when you want to be. And then as we've known this past month, there's been nothing. Hence why we haven't done a show. They literally already went dark.
No dev diary, no articles.
Pick a side. Go one or the other. That's fine.
Yeah, that's my issue too as well. Just pick a side. Like if you go dark, that's fine. I don't mind that. Yet, I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, if you say we're shutting everything down, we're going dark to work on the MMO, and we'll update you a month. Cool.
And I'll give 2 examples. Of 2 different game companies that do this. We have Stormhaven Studios. They're another indie company who's working on Saga of Leucemia. They go dark between periods. They literally say, listen, guys, we're going dark for the next 4 months. We'll have a build in 4 months. We'll show you what you got there. Okay? And then you have the super transparent, almost to a fault guys, Camelot Unchained and Mark Jacobs.
Oh, yeah, jeez. Yeah.
I mean, props. But see, that's the difference. They picked their side of the fence, and they stuck with it. Mark Jacobs was like, we're going to be 100% transparent. He sits up there and reads, so we adjusted the stealth variable by 0.0125.
It's almost too much.
I think it's too much that they do.
Almost too much.
He's accurate. That's what they do. They give you everything.
Everything.
But that's it. They went to the side of we're going to be 100% transparent. And as part of their Kickstarter stuff, they're like, we're going to give you a live stream. They do 2 live streams a minimum a week. Midweek with their creative director, and then an end of the, or not creative director, their customer service guy who just kind of addresses forum questions and stuff like that. And then Mark Jacobs himself sits down once a week for an end of week wrap up. And that's what they do. They will talk about whatever it is that they did that week in detail to fill out like that hour show. And then you have Saga of Leucemia, who goes dark for a period of time. And they tell you, we're going to go dark because we're working on the next thing. We'll see you at the next test. And then you jump into the test. You're like, oh, wow, look at all the stuff you've changed. You play the test. Great. And then they're like, okay, we're going dark for another 6 months. See you at the next build. Intrepid likes to play both sides of the line.
When it's convenient. They play the convenient side.
Yep. So, and that's a problem. I mean, honestly, pick a side, one or the other. We keep hearing Castle Siege soon. One of our guildies, was it you, Alpha? I can't remember.
It probably was me. I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. Got all hyped up because Bacon in Discord's like, Castle Siege is soon. I'm like, you do realize if you search Bacon in the Discord, he also said Castle Siege is soon like a year ago, too. Like, we're working on it. And that was when we saw the castle that was then added to the BR map.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. It's a thing. And that's what we see. You really can't. They're not transparent enough. They keep telling us that. And I'm not a proponent of being super transparent. I'd rather them go quiet and then therefore when it's ready, it's ready. But you need to be upfront with your community about it. Just be like, hey, listen, you're already seeing your players speaking about the BR. They're not playing it. Like, that's the long and short of it. They're not playing it.
No one is.
Yeah. Even little things like there's no... Sure, testing you can, but people are not going to. How do I say it? They're not going to sign up to be QA for your game. Not in the truest sense, right? There's a limit to the amount of testing that your public is going to do for you, right?
And that's what you tried to get with APOC.
Right.
You want to know people who sign up to be your QA? The people who dish like $1,000 or more on your game already.
Yep.
Yeah.
They will QA for you all day long.
Yeah.
We did, and then we got tired of it.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
because again, it's not the MMO. I'll tell you what, when Alpha Zero was up, we fought to get on that server.
Yep. When they drop Alpha 1, it's going to be pandemonium. Like, those servers aren't going to live. It's going to be disgusting.
And to understand 100% player retention's not always true.
No, sure.
Yeah.
You're not going to, but you're going to keep a much higher number than you will on this.
And to be clear, my concern is not necessarily the numbers that they have now. My concern is the MMO specifically and the players that you're able to consistently get on it. My concern is that you're driving away or pushing away players that would potentially come at a later date, like if it had a fully positive image around it, if you will, right?
Sure.
I feel they need to cut their losses.
And
I feel they need to cut their losses.
And here's the thing I see. I like that there's some transparent. Like Donut said that. Listen, you know how you accomplish that? Blog posts.
Yeah.
Just randomly. You know?
Yep.
Release the divine note. Like, I don't know why those things, we talked about them, why those things are being waited on. Because if the design doc is already there, okay, I can go to the Camelot Unchained site and read everything about their entire list of stuff they want to do because that's their design doc. They had that written up before they went to Kickstarter. I'm sure Steven has too. Why wasn't that put out as a design doc? And put a little thing, obviously things are subject to change. Guess what?
Yeah.
Update the document later. It
Because
doesn't.
he's afraid of having things held against him.
Well, that's what has it's so bizarre to me because you can update that's an even better update to people who are following your game because of the fact that, hey, you came back and you say, okay, well, we actually did not feel putting contracts with the merchants is a good idea, right? Or
Wouldn't that
something
give
like
them
that. So we
plenty of things
changed it
to talk
around,
about in
right?
the live streams?
Yeah, exactly.
They make changes like, guys, go to the post, check it out. We edited this section, we edited this section, and they can talk about that. You're right. You're so right. So right.
Yeah, like that's the point. You could just literally just say, and that is the update. You change this because of this reason, right?
Right.
You change this. This is alpha. Things need to change during that state.
And not only that, but that some things happen because maybe you'll write up a document not realizing that it's not technologically feasible, or you have an advancement in technology that you could do more. We originally only wanted to do caravans, but guess what? You could do caravans now. We've updated the tech, and we realized what we can do. Guess
or maybe
what?
something as simple as it wasn't fun. We tried it. It didn't feel fun, so we're changing it.
Right. But that's a level of transparency that even the closed guys do. BioWare does that. And you can't talk to their devs, but they'll release curated articles to keep you interested. It is what it is. Anyway. Live stream. Let's talk about the live stream a little bit before we wrap this up. We're going to try to be a little quick with this. I don't know. I saw a question and I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Powers D. I don't know. Margaret, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Margaret and the team have been doing really well with what information that they are allowed to release.
Yeah, whatever's been greenlit, they've done a great job with.
But again, here is that fence of they don't know. They don't want to greenlight stuff too quickly, so they're on the fence of that transparent of, we said we're going to be transparent, but we're only going to show stuff when it's ready, not when it's a work in progress. And not a work in progress like this. Like, I know all this stuff is work in progress. I get that. They show gray boxes. That's fine, but it's curated. We don't know when... like what the team's working on. All of a sudden they came out with the one cosmetic gray box item. What else are they working on? Give us a burner list. If you want to be transparent, we should know where you guys are and what sprints you guys are doing. Even if you
That's
just
transparent.
But yeah, and then they were worried and they said, well, we can't because we're worried about corporate espionage. That's what it really is. But competitors, fine, go dark. Say you're going dark. Don't play both sides, because what you're doing is you're making your customers, us, angry because you're saying you're going to be transparent, but then you don't tell us anything, or you give us these little scraps that don't mean anything. And then give us the excuse, well, we don't want to be too transparent because of competitors. Then you've already picked your side. Just commit to it. Woo.
Yeah.
So, the Battle Royale, Castle Siege, monthly cosmetics, all this jazz. Do they have enough money to get this MMO done? Are they going to have to do some private funding? Let's talk about the thing that we try to avoid talking about.
So I don't like to talk about it because
I don't want to either. It sucks.
Well, not because
We don't
because I
know anything for sure.
Exactly, because I don't know anything about it.
We
It
don't
would
know.
be like 1,000% speculation that I have no clue about.
Yeah,
right?
we can only speculate.
So that's the only reason why I don't like talking about the financial aspect. But it is and I've said it before, it is the only aspect, to be perfectly honest, that genuinely worries me about Ashes of Creation.
What is the average salary for a programmer?
We've talked about this before. It's
Yeah.
like a 6-figure or close to a 6-figure.
We're gonna say 100,000, just
Yeah.
across the board, because I'd say 100,000
we've
for a
done this.
programmer in that area. Okay, how many employees does he have? Let's say 50.
I don't know.
Let's say 50. Let's do that. They're looking at about let's see, $5 million a year. Okay, and how long have they been going?
Years.
We'll say 2 years. 2 years with 50 staff. They're already at 10 million. They've blown about a third of their budget. And that's just in salary.
Yeah.
That's-
Hardware and rent and
Yeah.
electricity and on and on and on. Food and on and on.
I would be fairly comfortable in assuming that of the money they've made from Kickstarter, plus all of our posts, they're probably we'll say, I'll be generous and say they've made 8 million. Okay, I'm going to be generous and say with upgrades and stuff like that, 8 million. Steven, this is the one thing, if you go back, and I will give a shout out to Jalon for this one. The wording Steven used on how much money he's actually put in. And we don't know, and we don't need to know.
We don't need to know.
Not
We don't
really.
need to.
That's not our business. But he's been public about it already, so that's what I'm going off of. He said 30 million of his own money, but that's actually, depending on who you talk to, that goes up and down. But we're gonna assume he put 30 million, so he's at 38 million. They probably only have about 28 million left, period, and that's not even including the amount of money that they've spent on hardware. I'm just assuming that's not there at all. They've got another 5.5 years of operating expenses just in salary, but doesn't even take into account rent.
And that's us
Software.
spitballing here. Like,
Oh yeah,
we're just spitballing here.
yeah. I just rambled through numbers, making an assumption at 100,000. But if he's hiring people at less than that, and some of the names that he's gotten, there's no way they're coming in for.
And they're moving to
100,000.
a new studio, and he's doing even more hires. So there are positive signs of, like, they're still
Right,
working on
right.
this and stuff like that.
Yeah.
right.
But the reason why they're probably not going to go dark, and the reason why they're not going to shut down the Battle Royale, and they're going to push Castle Siege, and they're going to keep APOC running is, again, the alternate revenue stream. Whatever revenue that is. Right now, I can't imagine as much. They hoped it was more, and maybe with Castle Siege, they hope it will be more.
That's probably the best case for why they continue to have APOC.
It's the it's the easiest, most logical explanation, which means it's probably the most correct one.
Right. So
common
and
sense.
right, and if that's true, then I get why they're doing it. I just I
They
would still
preface it with the testing. Testing is I mentioned before, testing is one of the reasons, and a player funnel down the road is one of the reasons, but the revenue stream is another reason that this is continuing to be a thing.
I noticed some people bringing up some of the other indie MMOs as well. Crowfall only got 27 million, and that was years ago. You also got to remember some of the people at Crowfall. They're out of Texas, which has a much lower cost of living in Texas than in.
Oh yeah, in San Diego.
Yeah, they're in Austin.
Yeah.
You can also have private investors come in quietly on the side, and there's lots of things on the side that can happen.
And Crowfall also doesn't have any of the some of the biggest names it has are their two main CEO people, J. Todd Coleman and what's his name? Really big in the MMO, but those are the only two big names that really stick out. Steven has made a point of hiring a lot of bigger names, talent in the MMO universe. There's no way those people are going, as they're saying, 200, 300,000 salary ranges. It might be a little high, 300,000, but 200,000 are very close to it in that area. I could see that.
I can't fault them for making these products as an additional revenue source. It's good business. It helps their bottom line. But what I want to know is how long will they hold on to it if it continues to run them in the red?
This is an interesting question that also came. Mr. Powers D, what is AOC competing with? I know New World is one. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I want to hammer this home. At one point in time, MMOs were niche, and they kind of competed within their own group. If you were playing Dark Age of Camelot, you really didn't play EverQuest because they were two different things. PvP, whatever. There is such a hunger in the MMORPG genre that every game that comes out in this genre is a direct competitor.
Yep.
Look at even a re-release of Arcade.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the unique sphere within the MMO, at least the genre.
There's a white space there. There's opportunity in this space. If you can do a good job, you can win.
There is opportunity, but it's
not a citizen and veterans and
it's very much what Aggelos just said. You're actually competing with every MMO out on the market, right? Because it's a continual game that you will continue to play. I mean, like it or not, when you release, you're up against World of Warcraft, who has what is it, 15 years, 20 years? I forgot. How long have they been out?
Oh,
15, it's 15. 15 or
years.
More at this point, yeah.
You're competing with 15 years worth of content, right?
Yep.
You're competing with all of that, all of those other games, because they can just as easily cancel and go back to playing, whatever it is, right? So it's not like a single player game where you play it once and you're done. You're supposed to keep playing it, right?
Right.
So that's your competitors.
Yeah, and every game that comes out, people jump to. I see people in chat. Arcade took a lot of the APOC players. Yeah, you know why?
All 17 of them.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's a finished game. It's an MMO.
Yep. Well, we all signed up for.
That we all signed up for. Yeah.
We all signed up for an MMO.
Yeah. And that's sort of the thing. There is every game that comes out that has a persistent world will be a competitor for AOC. When Star Citizen comes out, it'll be a competitor for AOC.
It will. However, so Necropoi just posted something. He said, WoW is basically bleeding. They're under 1.2 million. The only reason they spiked was because of WoW Classic. Any MMO would want to have WoW's numbers.
Oh,
Almost
hell yeah.
every single MMO out there
Every
wants
single
WoW's
one.
numbers, even if they are struggling,
Yeah.
right? On those cases.
They're struggling.
Anyone would kill to have those.
World of Warcraft struggles compared to its expectations of itself, of its former glory,
Right.
of MMOs in general.
Right. Like I see that same comment come up repeatedly with a lot of people, and there's context here. Their version of struggle is very different than somebody else's version of struggle.
Right. Are there even 100,000 people playing Arcade or 1.2 million people playing Arcade?
Right. No.
Or
Not even close.
On and on the list.
No.
So the new Fab thing still doesn't equal WoW in its bad state, if you will. Sorry about the siren, guys.
No, that's fine.
Right outside.
No, it's all good, man. No, it's true, and that's the thing. People will always compare, and that will always be something that compares. There's already rumors with a new WoW expansion. Watch those numbers shoot up after BlizzCon, which happens tomorrow, by the way.
Very hyped. Very hyped.
Yeah, like that's going to be something that's out there, and every new MMO, people don't have. people also want the experience of when they played MMOs when there was 5 of them.
That's hard to do now. Like,
Right.
Can't do it.
When there was 5, everyone sort of picked their stuff, right? Like, oh, I'm a WoW player, and you played for years.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a Star Wars Galaxy player. You played till NGE. I'm sorry. Or you played till the game goes down. Like, these are things, right? You played these games. I played Dark Age of Camelot. That was the game that I played the longest up until WoW. When WoW came out, I was angry at WoW because it was taking all my friends away from UAC. And even when playing WoW, other games would come up and people would go to them for a month and then come back to WoW.
Come back. Yep.
That's what's going to happen. Even when AOC comes out, when something else comes out, you're going to see a drop in players because people don't stick with an MMO because so many times they jump into one of these MMOs with all these big, grand ideas and then realize, wow, this really feels shallow. Well, yeah, it feels shallow when you compare it to a game that's 15 years old.
Yep. And there's a lot of fun in the first months of an MMO.
Sure.
There's a lot of enjoyment. I remember playing Star Wars The Old Republic the first couple months. I remember playing ESO the first couple months. Like, the joy you have in a fledgling MMO is great.
Even when WoW Classic, our guild jumped in. Oh, my goodness.
We were all in. Like, I was
Yeah.
like all chips in WoW Classic for like hardcore for a while.
Yeah.
It felt great.
I mean, you could see it in our Discord. When we were all in, there were like 40 of us in voice chat just for WoW, just while we were leveling up at like level, sitting in the dreaded queue boss. Like, this was something that people would do. And it was interesting because it was new and it's always exciting at that point in time. But the long and short of it is not... These games, especially what Ashes is trying to do, is they have to do it right. And this is why. They are a sandbox theme park kind of mixture, which has never really worked out well. There's been a few games who have tried. Arcade, for instance. Arcade was probably a bane of its own Korean crud, but these games, being the way that they are going to attract certain players and other players who are going to jump into it. And like, I can tell you right now, the PvE player base for Ashes of Creation is not going to be very big.
From what we hear of the game, yeah.
The competitive PvE side is not going to be very big because they've already said there's no shared raids. So there's no world firsting. There might be a world first from a server perspective, but there's not that fair playing ground. So yeah, some people will enjoy that. I like that. That's fine. But there's a certain type of player who's not going to enjoy that, and they're going to leave. It's not going to be for everyone.
The question is, can they hold the casuals?
Yeah. And well, that's another thing. PvP comes into it. If PvP
Not casual friendly.
is not casual friendly.
Not casual friendly.
So do the people who like exploration, by and large, do not like PvP. They like to explore. If someone comes up and kill them, they're going to get angry. And they may leave.
But the problem is, with how they want to make this game, a PvE server is just not a reality. Because then you don't have a constantly changing environment of metropolises that trigger events.
Yeah, no, it has to be this particular way. I think Ashes of Creation will be large if it comes out, but it's going to be niche compared to other games. It will still be niche. It's still a PvP game at its heart.
It can't do a WoW.
No, it won't.
By design.
No.
For out of the gate, if they have the aspirations of being the WoW, the next WoW, they're already shooting themselves in the foot. They've taken their swords, stabbed themselves in the foot, and they're stuck there. They're ruining themselves.
Right.
Because of their design for the game, which is a design I'm hyped about.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm the exception. You're the exception. We're the exception to the general casual MMO player base. The 16 million people that WoW had in their prime, those casuals will not like this game.
Yep. Absolutely. Just going in and housing is a massive thing for people, knowing it can be destroyed. One of my, anyone remember the packs? I still remember the lady who stood up and was, I don't want to say livid, but just almost aghast at the fact she's like, well, so my house can be destroyed if I'm not. Well, yeah, if no. So you're saying I can be asleep and my house can. Well, yeah, if the node is sieged, your house will be destroyed. So there's no way I can protect it.
Yeah.
Like she just could not accept that as a PvE player, that loss could happen.
Yeah. Which
is going to actually draw a lot of players away. A lot of players away.
Yeah.
More so than you think.
Yeah. People love making their own homes and bases. But the fact that they can be destroyed.
It will. That's the...
Turn tons of people off.
And that's where you're going to lose the casual WoW.
No one likes to lose progress. No one likes to lose progress. No one likes to fail. No one likes to lose. No one likes to lose progress.
Even if you can, quote unquote, save your template of everything where you place your ridiculous stuff.
The time?
Yeah.
Materials, time, and maybe... I really love that location right by the lake with the beam of light that always just hit.
Oh, yeah.
And the tree overhead.
The tree overhead.
The river.
Yeah. When I looked out my window, I could see into my neighbor. She loved doing yoga. You know, like all of that is gone.
Yeah.
I wish we could talk about a game that is under NDA. Unfortunately, we're still under NDA for it. Yeah. But I was seeing the exact same thing that, quite honestly, I'm worried about Ashes. Once we get to it, we'll see how it actually pans out. But that's the same logic and the same thing that I think is going to happen with Ashes.
People having their stuff broken.
People having their stuff broken, and people forgetting the reason why. One of the reasons why games like WoW took off, like a rocket, basically from the old school, like the old school hardcore games. They're very fond to a lot of us and things like that.
Yeah.
But there were very brutal aspects of the game.
Brutal.
Yes.
You know, that you had to contend with, and PvP was one of them, because the concept was not that, like, PvP was a given, right? And, you know, a lot of people just don't like to be hunted, right? Like, there are only so many winners. And, you know.
It's why games like Rust or Conan Exiles, or those games that have player versus player and base building, and then your base can be destroyed and lose everything. There's a reason why those games remain niche and never take off. It's that. It just, no one likes that stuff.
Yeah. So seeing how they balance, exactly. So seeing how they balance that and still try and keep it, you know, an open valve, if you will, that's probably their biggest challenge.
Right. And I saw Life Needs Adventure. You could protect it by participating in siege defense. You're right.
But what if you lose?
But what if you lose? And also, most of the casual players, if they don't like, I have people who are so anti PvP, even to protect their stuff, they won't do it. And then they'll get mad when they lose their stuff.
No one wants to lose their stuff in any situation. Just straight up. That's the simplest thing. It's going to make this MMO very niche. If they can pull in hundreds of thousands of subs, that's great. That's fantastic. If they can break 1 million, oh my God, that's amazing. You're never going to see them pull in the 60 million unless there is a shift in the general gaming psyche. Unless there's a shift. Unless other aspect of this MMO are just so amazing that people will play it regardless of those facts.
I mean, well, here, a perfect example. It's another, I shouldn't say a perfect example, but another example, one of the things that drives people off, Chronicles of Elyria. But despite the fact that it's another indie game, you know what the number one thing is that drives people away from that game? They have permadeath.
The fact that your characters die.
Yeah. They don't want to lose their character.
No. Straight up, my brain just went no.
Yeah.
I can't, like, no, I can't, no.
Yeah.
No. I never liked hardcore Diablo. People love hardcore Diablo. If you die once in Diablo, you're done. Your character's actually dead permanently. Some people love that stuff. No. I'm good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've never created a hardcore character either.
Yeah. No. And this isn't a Chronicles of Elyria podcast, but it's not that harsh. Your character is a very specific amount of life. Like, it lasts, like, your sub lasts a year, but then every time you die, you lose like 2 days. Depending on how high up you are, if you're a king, you lose like 2 weeks. And there's anti-grief mechanics, like after you die, you can't lose time for a certain period. But regardless, it's meant to risk versus reward. But the idea that even if you play your character perfectly, that after a year they die,
You go, nah.
and then you inherit your heir. Now, apparently, all the skills you learned in that life transfer, but they're unlocked. You just learn them faster. So if it took you 100 hours to get to 100 sword fighting, it'll take you 20 hours, but then you can push to 120 on your next life. So whatever. They have a lot of stuff in there, but that's a game that as soon as people go, what? I lose my character? Like, well, yeah, but your skills still technically transfer over, but they're just not unlocked immediately, and you can technically progress further. But a lot of it, I think, comes down to the cosmetic side. Well, I like the way my character looks. I want to be this thing forever. And I don't want to have to take control of another. Anyway, it's the fear of loss. Right.
Another example of a game that from day one, from the imagination of its concepts, are limiting themselves on the size of the player base.
Right.
They know they're building a game for a specific kind of person.
Right. And that's fine. The concept that a game needs to have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of players in order to be...
From the perspective of business, that's your job as a business, is to make as good of a business as you can. And your job as a developer to make as good of a game as you can.
Right. But the idea that you need millions of players to be successful is not true.
No.
Millions of players is when you're a cultural phenomenon, like what WoW was. There were plenty of games. MMOs... Ultima Online at its height, I think, had 200,000 subs, and that was an MMORPG phenomenon. And it had operated for years on that premise alone. The thing is, companies that want to make money don't like when you're only at 200,000. Even though you're making a profit, they don't like that, and you need to increase those profits. Because, again, they have that WoW tunnel vision. And yeah, if you're happy, if you're building a game like Chronicles of Elyria and Ashes are building games they want to play.
Yep.
They're happy with their niche audiences, whatever it may be. Yes, Ashes of Creation will be a little bit more mainstream than Chronicles of Elyria, but it will not be as mainstream as WoW. It won't. Anyway. Guys, we didn't even talk about the live stream, but more or less nothing happened in the live stream.
Yep.
I'm really going to be straight with you.
They showed some concept art.
Yep.
They showed a great model.
Yep. They showed a video of a trebuchet firing, which was cool, but we didn't really get to see anything because they didn't have any destruction mechanics yet. They're doing a 24-hour live stream on November 2nd. That's good to know. Okay. If you're interested in seeing this 24-hour Pathfinder D&D live stream, go. It's for Extra Life. Help the kids out and learn some Ashes of Creation lore if that's your thing. I'm all for the Extra Life, guys, because kids are awesome. So you should go check that out anyway. Or any number of other Extra Life streamers. Definitely do all of that. They're still working on the Siege mode. There's still a couple new hires that they need to update on the site. And they don't have an ETA on the next creative director's letter.
Yep.
That's really what it is. And there's a link in the podcast description below if you want to see all of the screenshots and concept art. The concept art, especially for the human villages, look really cool. I like it. It kind of reminds me of The Witcher, which is exactly what I like. But
why are the Renkai orcs Japanese orcs? You see their architecture style?
Oh, yeah.
It screams Japan, and it's cool. Japanese orc? All right, I'm interested. I'm curious.
Well, there is one thing I do want to show. I'm gonna put this up here on the screen.
And while you're doing that, I'm gonna bring up something kind of interesting. I've theorized that they want to get Castle Siege ready by the next season of their Battle Pass, which is mid-December.
Yep.
So I'm hoping by the next dev live stream, which is end of November, we should see some concrete. If that's their goal, we should see some concrete Castle Siege footage, gameplay. Alpha testers should be testing it before that point. That kind of stuff. So hopefully by the next live stream, we'll have more concrete answers as to whether my theory of that time goal is true or not.
Fat Dobby is on.
Dobby. That's a fat Dolby.
You're muted, Alpha.
Alpha's been muted for like the entire live stream.
Whoops. Sorry.
Yeah, we heard you, but they never heard. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a fat Dolby.
Yeah, that is a fat. If you haven't got a chance yet, and I never encourage people to do this, but I'm going to, go to the AOC subreddit.
Oh God.
Cam did a
Oh,
GIF.
yeah.
He's got so many good gifts.
Hold on. You know what? I'm going to pull it up on the stream. Hold
Yeah,
on.
he's got so many good gifts.
I'm going to pull it up on the stream because he did it once again. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know which one it is.
Yeah.
It's literally labeled, I can't stop looking at it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah,
scared.
it's we're going to hide that. And I'm going to bring that up on the screen. We're going to expand that out. Oh, I shrunk the screen, so now it's not going to fit right. But that's okay. I'll fix it. I'll fix it real quick.
Looking at his back.
Yeah, his back. You got his back right there.
See his back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to shrink it down a little
No,
bit.
hold on. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Full screened it.
Yeah. Full screened it enough. I'll just put it right there. All right, we're gonna play this.
Okay. Oh no. Why are we staring at his behind?
Mole.
Oh, is it pointing out the mole? Mole.
Molly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you've seen it, he's got a butt mole.
Yeah. A butt mole right on his right butt cheek, and that's what he pointed out.
Good old Cam.
Nice one, Cam. This one I like. Anyway, that was the live stream. There really wasn't much to it. A lot of it was what we had, they showed us some of the stuff they had been working on from an artistic side. Honestly, the only new thing besides the concept art was the video about the trebuchet firing. But it is what it is. All right. We're going to end the show here, but I do want to actually make an announcement. We're going dark, like Intrepid should do.
Yep.
Part of the problem that we're having is...
There's nothing to talk about.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's just nothing to talk about. And it's getting to be a real stressor for creating a show. Even bi-weekly is almost impossible to do.
It's real simple. If they drop a bomb of an announcement, you can expect us to stream the following Thursday,
Oh, yeah.
right? If they drop a
Yeah.
bomb, be like, oh yeah, they're gonna go live on Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. It's became so much of an issue that we're talking in our Discord, our team chat about doing a show. And a lot of times it comes down to, you guys feel it? You guys want to do a show?
Yeah.
No, because there's nothing really to say.
Yep.
With the type of testing they even have out right now, we can't even do Tales and Vera because there's no one playing.
We're not playing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and see, I don't even, like I said, I don't want to say we're doing monthly
No.
because we don't know. If they come out tomorrow and there's something awesome, we're going to do an episode. But I feel like right now to give you guys a schedule for this show is unfair to you guys and a real stressor on us.
And don't worry, when their development picks up and they start pumping out content and pumping out testing and gameplay footage and articles and all this jazz, we will be here every week, every Thursday, hammering this stuff. Because we've said a million times, we'll say it all the time, we want this to succeed. We're
Right.
passionate about this game. We're passionate about this group.
Yeah.
We're cheering for them. We're rooting for them. We just want them to feed us stuff. Feed us. Give us stuff. Or say we're going dark for 4 months or whatever, and that's fine. Let us know.
Yeah.
We're cool.
Yeah.
We'll be here when you get back.
I mean, to be honest, it's been it's 3 weeks, and the stuff we talked about was only the new map, and I think we really spread this conversation out much farther than what the map actually had.
Yeah.
But that's not something we can do every week. So I know this will be a fairly unpopular decision for some of you guys, and especially our loyal listeners. You guys are fantastic. You guys know who you are. And we don't relish having to do this, but we also want to have an entertaining show. And it's hard to do that when there's nothing really to talk about. So, all right. Well, I waited till the very end. That way listeners have gotten to this point, and before they shut the video down in complete disgust, it's okay. They watched the whole thing. So, that's a thing. Anyway, guys. See, I told you, this show. We should have got that level of drunk that I talked about earlier.
Oh, I should have grabbed those couple beers from my fridge and slapped them down on my desk.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we're still here. And the second they drop something worthy of talking about, you expect to show that next week.
Yep.
So, there you go. Anyway, check out my awesome co-host here, Alpha Soul, _Alpha_Soul on YouTube. Check his stuff out. And of course, Mr. Crowjack, all places Mr. Crowjack. And what are you comfortable telling us your new channels, since you said you're working on them?
So, I've been working really obnoxiously hard behind the scenes. So hard that I've not streamed in 2.5 weeks, much to the chagrin of my audience. I have a new channel going live. It's actually not a new channel going live. I'm going to have new content going live starting tomorrow. I will not even tell you what it is. You'll find out tomorrow. I'm already 7 days ahead on my content. I have a week of content uploaded and ready to go, as well as my gaming channel, which is also daily. So that's 2 daily YouTube channels. Let's freaking go.
We're going to end this on a happy note. Happy Hansel pointed something out. You can't even get drunk. There's no service in your lousy tavern. Touché, sir. Well played. Wow. I don't know if that depresses me more or just makes me laugh, but it's accurate. Anyway, you can follow everything we do over at dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon program, patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork, if you want to help support the show. You can also leave us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we're a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. Consider jumping in our Discord and joining the discussion, because, hey, you never know when we're going to go live at this point. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of From the Ashes. And I guess we'll see you next time. See you later, everybody.